I think this is a good step. It's probably an economical step for the Law Society, but I think it's also a good step for society in general, where it'll give a person more spectrum of what kind of lawyer they can choose from the directory online.
Hello, I'm Tom Mustin with Ask the Lawyers. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk to lawyer Steve Grover from Alberta. And the Law Society of Alberta recently announced it's closing its in house law referral service and moving to an online only directory. And Steve Grover joins us now to talk about that. Steve, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Tom. Nice to see you again. Thanks for having me again.
Always good to have you. So, we're talking about this move to an online only directory. How do you see that affecting Albertans, especially those looking for, a lawyer?
Well, I think now that we're in the 21st century and we're post COVID now, almost a year now, I think this is probably a good thing. You know, like when I grew up in like the 80s and 90s, TV was the big thing. This generation, it's always the iPhone, it's the internet, it's, Twitter. And I think it's probably good to go to an online depository where you can find a lawyer through the registry system, rather than just phony law firms. Like we get a lot of calls every week, and can you take my son's criminal case? And we just do personal injury here, and we give them the number for the Law Society referral system at the Law Society of Alberta. It does eat up our time. So I think the way the world is going, I think this is a good thing. Maybe it was a financial decision for the Law Society to change that, but if we have the technology now, I think that's an advantage to people in general because everyone's got access to the internet. It's pretty much like TV was when I was growing up.
So, Steve, talk about the experiences some of your clients have had using the LRS in the past.
Like the lawyer referral service here in Alberta. I mean, we do get a lot of calls every week of people that are looking for other types of law. We only do personal injury here at Grover Law Firm, so we do pass their number off to the lawyer referral service. I personally, I don't, have much of a, when we give them the number, we don't get a feedback really, but trust they've had the system for years, and probably people get they do find a lawyer through the lawyers referral service. So I mean, it's been around for generations. Is obviously a good service, but now they decided to go to an online directory service.
And, there's a common misconception that the law referral service is a free service. Have you ever experienced that misconception too?
Yeah, I think if people can get stuff for free, if I go into a Dodge dealer and they'll give me a truck for free, hey, I'll take it. I mean, everybody wants stuff for free. uh, and, probably people think, hey, it's a free service. And then they realize, oh, I got to pay this lawyer $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour. That does change their perception of a lawyer. But, at the end of the day, unlike personal injury lawyers where we work for free until we win your case, the people I know that do family law, corporate law, criminal law, they usually ask for a retainer up front because they want to get paid because there's no settlement at the end.
Right. And, technology is such a big part of being a lawyer these days. How has your practice been able to use technology now to kind of keep up with the Joneses?
Well, I think with March 2020 when the world shut down with COVID, I think that was a big breaking point in society and the world. One thing that we do now still is we do still do questioning, which is like a deposition in the U.S. We still do that via Zoom. We still do mediation via Zoom. With the courts reopening and society reopening and no masks now, unfortunately, lawyers do have to go to open chambers. We can't appear via Zoom. We'd have to get our suit and tie on and get down to court and be in front of the judge, which is probably a good thing because that's what we're paid to do is like, having a hospital and not having any surgery. And why would the government pay for it? So it makes sense to be in court if you're in an application or a trial. But I think, you have to embrace change and, evolution, like Darwin talked about. Society always changes. And, if you're going to be successful in business, especially law or medicine or dentistry, you have to change with technology. You have to evolve. I know a couple law firms that didn't evolve and they're not here now. But I think running a law firm is like running a business and you have to embrace change. And I think the technology advances are just, you know, huge in making my job easier. Obviously, everything is scanned now. We have everything that we can read on computer. I don't have to come to the office if I don't want to. I can work from home. So I think, technology is good and you got to embrace change. And I think that's the one thing, maybe, we have to realize in life is, technology is always going to change and we have to embrace it to make ourselves better. And I think it's made the law practice better and more stronger.
And Steve, speaking of that change, we're talking about the law referral service moving to it online only. Do you think that'll be an advantage for folks moving online?
Yeah, I think it will be because, like I mentioned earlier, everyone's got access to the phone. iPhone, you can Google it, you can Google who's starting quarterback, this weekend for University of Notre Dame. I mean, you couldn't do that 30 years ago. So I think everything going online, and there's 10,000 lawyers in Alberta, and that gives you a whole. If a lawyer wants to register on the lawyer referral service on the directory, they can find that lawyer rather than calling from law firm to law firm to law firm. And maybe some lawyers don't give the number out for the lawyer referral service, and so that person moves on to the next person. And I think it just gives you access to a bunch of lawyers that probably you would not have had access to before. So I think this is a good step. It's probably an economical step for the Law Society, but I think it's also a good step for society in general, where it'll give a person more spectrum of what kind of lawyer they can choose from the directory online.
Okay. Now let's play devil's advocate here. What if someone says they're not very tech savvy or they don't have access to a lot of online services? How will this impact them?
Well, my advice to that person is let's get in the 21st century. If you're not tech savvy, like I don't know anything about technology that much. And, my daughter probably knows how to use an iPhone better than me. And if you need some free advice, come by my office and I'll teach you how to use a computer. But you know what? I mean, it's, if you're not tech savvy, my advice is, you should learn the computers, you should learn the iPhone. That's the way this generation's going. TV's going streaming now. People are watching movies on Netflix. And, if they're not tech savvy, I advise them to go into Staples or Office Depot and check one of those laptops there and just practice on the laptop until the sales guy comes by and kicks you out of the shop and just learn. I mean, you got to learn, man. You know what? One thing that my parents always told me is you got to learn every day. I mean, for me, I never stop learning. Every week I learn a new book. I read a new book. I want more information in my brain, and the brain is like a muscle. You gotta work that brain and educate yourself and get better every day. And I just think that person has to learn to become tech savvy. Like if a guy like me can become tech savvy that grew up in the 80s watching like Chips and Magnum PI, I think anyone can be tech savvy. Trust me, okay?
I hear you. Always great to talk to you, Steve. Thanks so much for sharing
All
your
right.
insight.
Thanks, Tom. Have a
A lot
great
of good
week.
information. That'll do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. Our special guest has been lawyer Steve Grover. If you have a question about your situation you want Steve to answer, just call the number on your screen. Thanks for watching. I'm Tom Mustin for Ask the Lawyers.